Hey YouTube, T. Holtz here. I haven't made a video in a very long time, but I really wanted to get this on video more for my reference than for actually putting YouTube up on video. This is the end of the season for my 40-gallon stock tank container pond that I put out here every year. We're in mid-September, another couple weeks for it to be set up fully like this with the fish in it. And then I'll bring the fish in, leave the plants outside until just before the first frost, because I do bring the plants inside each year and shine a lamp on them inside to keep them alive over the winter. And I like to wait until just before the first frost to kill off any mosquitoes that might be living in here. The last thing we want to do is breed mosquitoes in the house. As far as the plants here, I have this iris, which didn't do as good this year as it normally does. It had a real nice couple of flowers on it earlier in the season, but it didn't get as much foliage on it as it usually does. I think it needs a bigger pot. It also has a pink bell that I did not plant in here, but it made its way in the pot with the iris. There might be another pink bell here as well that I didn't put in that pot with the iris. This is the pink bell plant. It did have a couple of pink flowers. It does have some buds on them. As you can see, there's a bud that might get more flowers yet before we bring it in. And let's see, here's a firecracker plant with, if it'll focus on the flowers, there's some of the flowers on the firecracker plant. And we have more flowers here. This plant, I don't remember the name of it. You see it's got some flower buds on it. There should be a couple of more flowers if the weather permits. They get a nice real big white and pink flower on them. I had a few earlier in the season. Looks like it'll have a couple more. A lot of greenery on this plant. And then down here on the bottom, this plant we're looking at here, I don't remember the name of this. It did have a lot of tiny pink, little little tiny white flowers on it earlier in the season. And the usual water hyacinth. See my fountain, my Tetra fountain filter going strong. And let's see if we can pick up the fish. Yeah, we're getting a view of some of the gold white cloud mountain minnows. So I have in here, the water temperature is 66 degrees right now. It's going to be in the mid-70s during the day for the next couple of weeks with 50s at night. So I did just put a heater in here. I don't want the water to get too cold. I'd like it to stay in the 60s. I don't want the water to go down into the 50s. Mainly because when I bring the fish inside, I don't want it to be a shock for them to go into the warmer water. These fish can handle colder water temperatures, no problem, but I don't want to bring them in from the 55-degree water into 75 and have to bring them up that much in temperature quickly. So I'm not sure how many are in here. In fact, I don't even remember how many I put in of the gold white clouds. There are some regular white clouds in here too. They actually bred over the summer. These gold ones, I haven't seen any fry from them. I'm kind of surprised. Thought there'd be a lot of gold fry in here, but there isn't. Normally I put a light background on the bottom so that the fish show up better, but I forgot to do that this year. I usually put either some kind of sand or gravel, or recently I used a gray floor tile, ceramic floor tile on the bottom to lighten up the bottom so you could see the fish better, but I didn't do that this year. As we look over here, we're not going to see them, but usually there's a lot of fry from the standard white clouds. They usually hang out over here, and I see them during feeding time. I don't see any of them right now. I do see a couple, but they're not going to show up on camera because they're very dark. We'll see how many fish I get out of here. I know I put in 7 of the standard white clouds, and I think I might have put in 14 or 15 of these gold ones. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. 21 fish went in here originally, and we'll see what I get out in a couple weeks when I bring them inside. It's a fun little project to do every year. It's the same thing I usually do. Same plants. These plants will live all winter long. These actually die out, but then they come back in the spring. This is all new growth from this year. Once they go inside, they die off, but this comes back in the spring. This one will stay alive all winter long, as does the pink bell and the iris. Well, I think it came out nice. A lot of foliage. Not much water in the pond because these plants are all in pretty large pots because they've gotten big over the years. I've had some of these plants for 4 or 5 years, so they're in kind of large pots, and I prop them up on cinder blocks or bricks so that they're far enough out of the water. I think that might be the problem, like I mentioned, with this iris. It normally grows a lot more foliage than this. I'm thinking maybe the pot's too small. I don't know. I also usually place it in the back of the pond and not in this corner. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Maybe it doesn't get as much sun in the corner. I don't know. But everything worked out pretty well. I'm happy with it. Like I said, I'll get my shadow out so you can get a good look at it in the sun. I'll get another 2 weeks out here. Usually I bring it in by the 1st of October, depending on what the weather is. If it looks like it's going to be warm the first couple of weeks of October, I'll leave it out here a little bit longer. Well, that's it, YouTube. Thank you for watching. Once again, this is my summer project. Been out here since beginning of May. I put the fish in June, so I get at least 5 months out of it. My 40-gallon stock tank container pond. Thanks for watching.